So strap in and get ready.
The leaders in AFL SuperCoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse and Skitty.
Good evening and welcome to the Insight AFL Show. I'm your host, The Horse, and with me, just one co-host for now. One is joining us in a short time, but Hurls, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. We're on tonight competing with State of Origin, so I'm sure no one will be watching that kind of stuff, will they? They'll just tune into us.
What game's that? What code is that?
It is good to watch, though. Only when they punch on, though.
Yeah, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get stuck into round 12, which is the first bye round. We need to be ready, all planned up, ready to go as per your columns that you've written within our Patreon and whatnot. But this is moving round. Like the next 4 weeks, you could easily halve your rank and not really have to move too much around if you've done your planning for this next 4 weeks. So please stay tuned as Hurls and I and our next special guest who will join us shortly we'll go through. But if you haven't yet, please hit like, subscribe, and the bell. Be a triple banger. Give us a thumbs up as well. We would really appreciate that. If you listen to us in audio, give us that 5-star review. Helps get us into the ears of like-minded, banter-minded, SuperCoach-minded people. Hurls, is there anything you wanted to mention tonight before we kick off, mate?
I think you made a really good point about the buys, and I think one thing I will say to everyone is don't panic about 1 week of scoring. Like this really does need to look like a 5-week block. Like your team might suck in round 12, but then be really good in round 13. Other teams might be positioned in a different way. So don't panic so much about the rank week by week, as 100%. Long as when you come out around 16, you're better off than when you went in and you're in a position to tackle the back half of the year.
Spot on, mate. Our games tonight are going to be brought to you by the Standard Squeeze, who are helping you drink responsibly and conveniently. You can go to the website, thestandardsqueeze.com, and use the code IFS2025 to get yourself 15% off everything in store. Now, let's get into some games, mate. Tomorrow night, we see Brisbane versus Essendon. We will be doing a Squeeze of the Week too, ladies and gentlemen, but that will be within our Patreon this week. 7th debutant to debut for the Bombers. We've brought in Zardes Ziki, for those that have held all this time. Archie Wicks is also another inclusion tomorrow night. So we've replaced Reed and McKay and who's the other one that's gone down? Langford. So all tallish kind of players with 3 smalls.
Oh yeah, I had a bit of a joke with someone on Twitter a bit earlier. I think Zardes and Archie Wicks are going to stand on each other's shoulders and play fullback this week. So we'll be right.
It's unreal, isn't it? So
it is, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, as a Bombers fan, and we both are, when you're not in contention, which we're not, and you're getting the 7th debutant of the year, and they all look like they've got real talent. This is what makes footy exciting. I mean, 2016 in a morbid way was an exciting year because we had all the top up players, and I think this year I'm just enjoying what these kids are looking like. Angus Clark last week gave us some hope. Zach Johnson, by all reports, is a really good ball user off half back. So more, I guess, support for Andy McGrath and Roberts back there. So I think this is what we want to see.
I had a bit of a think when we did when we did see the Essendon team tonight. Is Setterfield going to go back and play like some sort of back role now that they've included Zardes, Archie Wicks, these sorts of players?
Not sure. They'll have to think of something. I mean, probably they'll play. We've got our man Laverty is the only tall really, but Redmond will play probably on the second tall. Then we'll have probably Pryor play tallish, and then you got McGrath, Roberts, and Johnson. But who's going to play that 7th role? Maybe Setterfield. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Who they pick to do that? Or do they just use the wings a little bit more, like, and get Dersma and Clark to roll back a bit more and help out the defence? Who knows? But it's going to be a good challenge. Brisbane are a good side, and they'll probably pump us, but it's going to be interesting to see what we do tactically, because we have to do something a bit different.
100%. Just before we get into the games, we've got CWT in the chat. G'day, brother. Him and I sat down and did a podcast today on his team, his moves, what he's looking forward to, I guess, with his trade plans and what have you. He's currently ranked 5th overall, 99 points behind the number 1 spot. And by the looks of his team, in comparison to the team that is sitting number 1 at the moment, he's got the extra primos coming into this week, so he may even move up this week. Looking forward to seeing. And also, Kerry O'Keefe, how you doing, mate? I fucking love it, Hurls. Fucking love it. Anyway, the 7th debutant for the Bombers this year, Zach Johnson. I don't think after seeing who Essendon picked tonight, I don't see any mid-season draft picks playing tomorrow night.
Nah. Look, the only one that would even be a remote chance would be the bloke who was already in the system, but he's a small forward. So given they picked Archer Day Wicks, I don't think they're going to play Smart, who is in the VFL system. Look, I think a couple of them could get games later in the year, but they won't play tomorrow night, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. No. Zach Johnson is interesting, though. He's been dominating at VFL level, and he looks a real talent. Yeah,
good ball user, accumulator of the ball, playing behind the ball, captain of his club in the under-18. So I think they've been really excited. Out of all the draft picks last year, I mean, obviously Kako was the one that was highly talked about, but that move we made to really split pick 9 or whatever it was that we had and get all those extra picks at the back end to bring in Angus Clark, Zach Johnson. We haven't seen Reece Unwin yet, who's also looking like a likely prospect.
Nice.
I think as Rose has done a great job to bring these guys in, and they all have characteristics that we needed. They're competitive. They've got good gut running ability, good ball users. Like, we were lacking all of these characteristics. So I think, don't want to get too carried away because they're 18-year-olds, but I think that they give me hope that we know what the gaps were and we're targeting them.
So what you're saying is they're the opposite to Jake Stringer.
Yeah, 100%.
There you go.
100%.
Good.
Pretty short and sharp.
Yeah, mate. General soreness for Coleman. He's not in again this week. Does this change our planning?
It's interesting. Like, I mean, he was in my plan to bring in next week. That's clearly not going to happen now because there's no way you go early on Kitty Coleman now. Nah. So, I mean, maybe just a little watch, wait and see. He's very cheap. So if he plays the second game and gets another 70 or 80 and then is picked for a third one, he's probably going to entice most of us, isn't he? Because he's 270 or 80K, but you're just not going to do anything early with him. You're going to wait and see because you don't know what is going to happen, really.
That's right. Does Guelphy go to Zorko?
Most likely.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll keep up. It's a different kind of tag proposition. Like, Guelphy
it is.
Historically goes to, like, last week he went to Vlostone. He's done jobs on Sicily before. He usually takes that taller designated kicker who doesn't have the gut running ability. Like, Zorko might blow him up with his running.
Yeah.
But I think he'll go to him.
Do you think Jared Berry goes to Zach Merritt?
He has done in the past, but it's not what Brisbane have been using him for. So it's a really interesting one. Do they just go, your Dunkley accountability kind of play at the stoppage, and then do they sort of wait till Merritt gets off the chain? Because they've done this before too, where they don't worry about it. Then if Merritt gets hot, they move Berry onto him. So they might sort of go with that approach. The other thing is Merritt played the last quarter across half back last week. Maybe he's the 7th defender.
Maybe, yeah.
So you never know.
Which lines do you think go massive? For me, it's hard not to see Neil, the suitcase, McCluggage, Will Ashcroft even. If you've held Levi Ashcroft all this time, I think he's good for an 80 or a 90 tomorrow night as well. Like I see Lions winning comfortably tomorrow night. Who's going to be the pick of the scorers? Fuck. I want to say Neil because I own Neil, but I reckon McCluggage. I reckon he's in for a huge one. Essendon don't really have anyone that can go with him.
No, McCluggage and probably Ashcroft are the two. Like the runners who can get it both in the contest and on the outside, Essendon don't really stop them. They might go okay on one of them, for example, but then I don't think they're going to stop all of them. So I think any of them could go huge. And the other thing with this game, I think they're number 1 and number 3 ranked for just disposals in general.
Yeah.
So it'll be a high possession game, a lot of marks.
Yeah, it will be.
Both love uncontested marking. So, SuperCoach scores are probably big, and anyone who's out there taking some same game multis probably can fill up with a few disposals too.
For sure. VCs, mate. Neil, McCluggage.
Yeah, probably Neil. I've got Neil Zeret or Zorko to choose from, but I think probably Neil if I'm going to go one. But I just got to see whether I want to or not, because you can pick. The good part about the next 5 weeks, it doesn't matter which game you pick from because you've got the blue dots on the buys, so you can pick from the second last game if you want as your VC. So you just got to really think through that rather than being in a rush.
That's right. Brisbane by 15 goals.
Yeah, plenty. I'll go 10 goals just to be conservative, but it's going to be ugly, we think.
Yep. Nath, got your comment, mate. We will address it at the end. No worries at all. Let's move on to the next game, mate. Collingwood versus Hawthorn. I'll tell you what, the Collingwood supporters on social media weren't too happy when we picked up Dermy Burden's stepson tonight.
I know. I knew we were going to do it. Like when I heard that Rosa visited him yesterday or the day before or whatever it was, and it was just odds on. Like we did it last time when we picked Durham, a pick before Richmond. I thought it was a certainty. So yeah, they probably weren't too happy. I don't know the kid. I hope he's a gun, but I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, travelling well. Hawks, for that matter, are not travelling well. Sorry, but they do have the wood over the Pies here.
Yeah,
what do you think?
They trouble them big time. They historically they send someone to Dacos, so normally it's Finn McGuinness. Whether they do that again or whether they just use Nash or someone, I'm not sure. And the other thing is, I remember like gather round last year. I think it was Hardwick kicked 5 or something like that. Like they just seem to that style is the one that Collingwood so far haven't been able to match. Whether they're playing well enough this year, Hawthorn, because they're not in great form at all, I don't think. But this matchup on Friday night might be the one that helps them out, because they do seem to match up okay against the Pies.
We say they're not doing well; they're still 7-4.
Yeah, no, that's right. But I mean, when you're comparing to where they could be, if you like,
right.
Everyone's thinking at the end of last year they're going to be up around that top mix. I think they've beaten the teams that they should have beaten, and they've probably lost to the teams that they would have hoped to have been really competitive against. That's probably what I mean by not travelling that well. They're still going all right.
Yeah. What do the Collingwood ends mean for SuperCoach? Not much.
No, I think the only thing that it might do, I saw a few people asking about Ed Allen and blokes like that today. I think go back to their team 3-4 weeks ago. That's what it's going to look like in the back half of 100%. The year. So Ed Allen will get pushed out. Pendlebury and side bottom play more meaningful roles. So it'll just be back to what it was. So just those guys that you might be thinking about on the fringes that have been doing a great job in the system, they won't be there in the back half of the year. So
no. What do you think of Ned Long? So for me, I'm a holder.
Yeah.
A buyer very early on and stoked with him. So I bought him in round 5 when he was 280K. Yeah. And he's gone 114, 96, 87, 94. Had a stinker against Freo, 65. But then 94 last week against North Melbourne, 134. Do you think that this is the new cog in Collingwood's midfield where they start to stick with him on the inside and then start to sort of Pendlebury side bottom? You've been awesome, but now you're just role players.
I don't know that they'll go that far, because the other two are still important cogs in their midfield, but I don't think Ned Long's losing CBAs or anything either. So if I was in your boat and I owned him, I would be holding him as long as possible until it looks like you have to move him. Like, why would you get rid of a bloke who looks good for 95 in this season where cash gen is so rough? I mean, if he ends up your sort of flex or your last upgrade or something like that, it's not going to be a massive issue, is it?
No, I hope not.
Yeah, I think that's how I'd play it. I think with someone like him, I'd just wait, make him your last of the decisions that you need to make.
Yeah, I'm probably scared off any VC or C options in this game.
Yeah, I'm not, because I think they will tag Dacos. I think those of you who don't own Dacos, though, I'm going to contradict myself here. He is value now, big time. You could jump on. But I just would be a little careful that he doesn't. Like, he might not go massive in this game, but he's still. I mean, you're not buying Dacos for 1 week, right? You're buying him for your full team. So if you're looking at him, this week or next is a good time for Dacos, I think.
Jeez. Yep, you're right. Next week he plays Melbourne. The last time he played Melbourne, 186.
Yeah.
Scores well against St Kilda too. And then
what's his break even?
115.
Yeah, so you could wait another week if you got him in your sights, but if you went this week, that's okay too. Just maybe temper what you're expecting, maybe if they tag him. But I don't think and this is where you got to look at your trades now are your final team trades. So don't worry too much about 1 week, right? You buy them when you think the price is right, and then you're holding these guys for the rest of the year. So,
yeah. Let's move on to the next game, mate. After. I think Collingwood beat them.
Yeah, look, I think they probably do, but they are probably due for a loss. But I think that they're better than Hawthorn, I think, at the moment. So I'll go to Pies.
Gold Coast versus Freo at People First Stadium. So what does that mean? Gold Coast is going to win.
They haven't played there for a while, but they just don't lose there, do they?
No, they don't.
I think they're looking pretty ominous. The Suns. They got a game that can challenge the top 4, but whether they can be consistent enough for the whole year, which they've never done yet, that's the question that you have to work through. But I think on any given day, they're a chance. Yeah.
If buying one Gold Coast mid, so who would you choose between Noah Anderson, Took, or Matt Rowell?
Oh, I've stuffed up there. I put Anderson twice.
Yeah, which way would you go?
I think it depends on the makeup of your team. Do you want the high ceiling bloke in Nando's, or do you want the consistent, reliable Took? I think if I was picking for my team right now, it would be Nando's.
Yeah,
if money was no object.
Yep, I like it, mate. Now, with Shrek, is he going to return this week, or is Jackson going to solo ruck? Fremantle are in a real predicament at the moment because I have heard from our Freo contacts, and we know that Darcy is on the trade block, but they need to keep playing him to boost his trade value. They can't just not play him. So I think you're going to see Sean Darcy against the greater good because Freo want to get more in return for him. I see him playing this week.
Yeah, I think they'll play him this week just by what Longmuir was saying. Like, the coach was pretty pointed about the matchup and Witts and not wanting Jackson to go solo against Witts.
Which is a big boy too.
Yeah, he is. I think they play him this week. I think the problem is, and if, I don't know, I don't want to tell Longmuir what to do. I would have given Shrek a 6-week mini preseason, forget about playing him, and then at least give him half a chance to be fit in the back half. If he plays half cooked like he has been so far, it won't matter who he's playing. He'll be rubbish because it's just he hasn't been able to get around the ground. So I think that's the problem. And then that by nature means Jackson is not as dominant because he doesn't get as much ruck time, and it's a domino effect.
As per the skull, mate, is there even any grass left at the stadium? That number 18 Buzz Lightyear bloke keeps eating it.
I think he's doing more than eating the grass, that bloke. I reckon he's going to sign a contract soon too, though. So he must love the grass up there. Yeah, that's the rumor that he's going to sign during the buys. So maybe Cotton On didn't have enough money for him.
Saucy. So let's throw this out there then. Sam Flanders, he's been played wildly out of position this year.
Yeah.
Is there trade speculation around him at all come the end of the year?
I wouldn't know. I haven't heard it, but you wouldn't be in a hurry to leave there, would you? They look like they've got their window wide open for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So I doubt it. But he's a lot younger than Took, isn't he? So he's probably the midfielder at some stage. But yeah, you just never know with these things. Who knows?
Who do you think tags? Anyone?
Well, Freo have that Wagner available to them to go with Anderson, maybe, but I don't think he's going to. Maybe he's the right type to tag Anderson. Maybe he ran around with Dacos. It's that outside kind of player suits Wagner probably, but yeah, maybe that. But whether it works, I don't know. I think Gold Coast will probably be too good for him.
Yeah. VC options in this one. I like Noah Anderson as a pod VC or C option if your earlier VCs don't work.
Yeah, if you had him. I don't want to trust Brayshaw or any of them in this one because I think their midfield could get beaten up. So, yeah, if you had a Gold Coast bloke like an Anderson or whatever, maybe, but otherwise I'd steer clear of the Freo blokes.
Yeah, they might be good for 120 up there, but that's the 150s. Yeah. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And this week in particular, and over the next 5 weeks, you really should target who do you think is your highest scoring player in your team and VC them because you've got the ability to. You can go right up to the second last game with a VC as long as you've got a safe fallback in the last game. So I think particularly this week with West Coast Geelong being the last game where most of us have got, if Bailey Smith plays, we've got him, or we've got maybe Holmes or someone that can be that safe fallback. I think it's go whoever you think is going to be your best scorer for your VC.
Would you go Woods a piece pod VC option? I really like him.
You could.
But I don't think I like him enough to be a VC option.
Yeah, it depends on whether you. I mean, it depends who you've got and what you think. I mean, the safe play really. He's probably just go Maxi Gawn.
Yeah.
VC or C, right? He's in great form. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Wits is good for your 115s each week or 110, 115, but I don't see the 150s coming out of him. And if he's up against even a half-battered Darcy and Luke Jackson, that may limit his scoring because Jackson will get him athletically throughout this one.
Yeah, agree.
Let's go to the next game, mate. We're almost halfway through our games already. GWS versus Richmond, and we're going to give our man a shout out here. Ryan from Astute Newstead, who personally sponsors Lockie Whitfield, and asked the question to him, what the fuck are you doing? You did not take one kick out last week. You did nothing good for me. You're making me look silly. But for you at home, he won't make you look silly because use the promo code INSIGHT for all your residential home loan needs. What happens with Whitfield now? So we saw a grand total of 0% game time in defence last week for Winnie Blues.
Yeah, I don't know. As an owner, I'm nervous. I'll let it play out. I want to see what the next couple of weeks looks like. And look, let's be completely honest. Half forward running around like he did last week against Richmond is going to be a lot easier than most other opponents. So probably won't matter this week. No. But I don't want my premium kick out seagull defender playing half forward rolling up. That's for sure. So it's a worry. And if I was tossing up between the two, I wouldn't buy any yet, but I would be having half an eye on Ash because if Ash now has the monopoly on the kick-ins and this role holds, he's the one, right?
Let's get him. Yep. Yeah. I think we've got to wait a couple of weeks because this might be a bit of a throwaway game against Richmond this week.
Yeah. You can't judge it on this game because it's half forward's probably as good a spot as any. Like, you're gonna like Whitfield did still spend a lot of time running through the back half. He didn't start any centre bounces in the back half, but he rolled right back. So if he plays that sweeping role across the ground against Richmond, it's going to be lucrative, you would imagine.
Very much so. Richmond coming good with some rookies, mate. Gray,
Maybe.
Caleb Smith, McAuliffe. Who do you trust out of these ones?
I wish I knew. Look, I'm picking Gray regardless. And the play for me with Gray is I have Connor Stone and have held him all year. And so Connor Stone will be one of my outs in the next 2 or 3 rounds. He's 199K. So he'll go down to a basement rookie, probably the West Coast bloke at 99K that just went in the mid-season draft. So I'll make that 100,000 at some stage in the next 3 weeks. And so having the forward defensive swing on Gray really suits that, because then I lose one with a swing, but I replace him with Gray. Whether he plays or doesn't play really doesn't matter for that replacement. If you can make cash, it's a bonus. The others, I like McAuliffe, but like you said, does Prestia come back? And even if he does, maybe he gets injured again. But if McAuliffe holds the CBAs and can average 90 for a few weeks, he's a good cash play.
100%.
Caleb Smith's the one I can't get a read on. Why
don't Richmond
he's got the role?
Yeah. If you're a Richmond supporter, comment. Tell us.
Yeah, let us know.
What's going on? Because Smith looked all right last week, but when you talk to our Richmond friends that we have, not many people like him.
They don't. And you've got to also think, like, in my mind, I'm going, all right, whatever I do here, there's not that many rookies that you need to make a lot of cash now, but you would like a few of them too. So if you're going to one or two of these 3 this week, Gray, I'm happy to go, all right, if he makes no money, I don't care. But if I'm going another one, I want that other one to make cash. And so Caleb Smith at 127 versus McAuliffe at 280. If Smith can score 60s, he can make more cash than McAuliffe scoring 90s, right? So I'd go there if I trusted him. But the Richmond supporters that I know, they don't fill me with confidence that he's going to play every week.
No. Now, I want to give a shout out to this man, Yaron Gartner, for donating $30 towards our podcast, mate. We appreciate you. You're an absolute ripper, gentleman. We have some good lucrative conversations, or not lucrative conversations, sorry, but good in-depth conversations on X in regards to our SuperCoach teams. And he has mentioned a couple of times that he appreciates the content. So you're the type of person that we love, mate. Not just for the monetary value, but the good person that you are, the encouragement that you give other people within the SuperCoach community. Absolute ripper, and proud to have you part of the Insight community, mate.
Love it, mate. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Xavier O'Halloran, I don't think he's an injury. I mixed that up. I don't think he's an option now. Josh Kelly is coming back, which means Xavier O'Halloran's probably just going to be pushed to the outside again. When O'Halloran has that midfield role, he looks good. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But Josh Kelly every day of the week takes the chocolates if you're matching up those 2 players.
Yeah. Look, they have shown that they can use Kelly on a wing before, so maybe they do still play him inside. But I don't think I'm going to spend the cash that O'Halloran will take with that risk. I think it's just too dicey. Like, if you're going to spend 200 to 300 on a rookie at this stage of the year, you want quick cash. You want to make it 100 in 3 weeks, and then you're churning them. I can't be taking risks on those guys, so I think I'll pass on O'Halloran.
Yep. VC or C options in this game.
You could take a punt on someone like a Tom Green if you had them. That's the safest, but I don't have him, so I can't pick him. If Whitfield wasn't in the shit role, I could say him, but I'm not going to take a punt on someone playing half forward. So I'd say Tom Green's the one if you've got him. You've got Lockie Ash, actually. That could be a really good shout, but I don't have him either.
Yeah. Lockie Ash could be a sneaky VC option here, couldn't he?
Yeah.
For me, Giants by nearly as much as Brisbane beat Essendon by.
Yeah, plenty.
I think
the other one that you could...
Yeah, go.
So I was going to say the other one you could sneaky think about there, Toby Green would love this matchup, I reckon. He'll run a mark.
Mate, wouldn't he?
But no, I don't know many people that got him, but if you do.
Yep. Sydney Swans, Phil's Mob, taking on the Adelaide Crom Saturday night, SCG, 7:35. The burning question on everyone's lips. Are we selling Bice and are we selling Cleary? I sold both. So they're already gone. But for you, mate, because you still have Bice, do you?
I have Bice, yeah. sell this week for sure. I think look, if our mate Phil had his way, he wouldn't be in the 23, right? So I think he's shown that he's struggled a little bit with the competitiveness of AFL. He's good with the ball in hand, but he's struggled a bit with the tackling. When the ball's there in dispute, he's sort of not the most reliable. I think that's shown up in the last couple of weeks. And so the maths and break-even game tells you sell, plus the eye test tells you sell. So I think it's time. He's done his job, been a great rookie for us.
100%
Thank
he
you,
has.
and we move him on.
Yeah. Cleary? Same?
Yeah, same. I got rid of him last week, but I think he'd be in the same boat for me. Yeah.
Roberts is an interesting topic. So I had a very good conversation with CWT today, Clayton, coach of Spud Guns, sitting 5th overall. And he is almost adamant that Ryan Marrich's game last week is an outlier and that he's going to go back to the role that he had previously. So I went back and did some digging on some numbers and what have you. And by the numbers, Marich has been a better player than Matt Roberts this year, super coach wise. I'm not saying that as an AFL footballer, because I think Matt Roberts as an AFL footballer is a far better player than Marich. But when we're talking super coach and the kick out merchant that Marich is, and the way that he started last week with all those clangers, I don't think that happens again. We'll talk about Marich when we talk about West Coast. But for Roberts, there's Blakey, who we both agree on is a very selfish footballer. You've got who else you got running through down there?
Well, last week you had Mills pushing back a little bit back there last week.
Yeah.
Even the occasional Lloyd runs back and gets a few of the cheapies.
Lloyd. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot back there, and I've watched Roberts closely because he's been one of those ones all year that I've thought, when's the right time to get off? I've never thought really that I want to keep him all year, but things have always just panned out that I've had to hold him. But he plays well. Like he passes the eye test. But there are games where he can go missing for a whole quarter and a half where they just don't go through him. Like last week, I think he was 68 at half time and then ended on 90. So, first half, everything went through him. Second half, not much did. And so it's just one of those ones with Roberts, because there are so many different guys back there that tend to use the ball. He does have some quiet patches. Now, I'm probably, again, holding him for a while now. I would love to get rid of him at some stage, but I'll probably have other issues to worry about more than Roberts. So he's probably going to be a hold for a little while. Yeah.
So for me, it's between Marich and Roberts to trade out this week, because I do want to bring in Tom Stewart and I do want to bring in Max Holmes, because I feel like their run that they've got is, I don't know, Cotton On must have made the fucking draw to finish the year for Geelong. But that's just ridiculous the way Geelong's draw is that's coming up. So I want to load up on your Bailey Smith, your Tom Stewart, and your Maxi Holmes for that run, because I feel like a lot of Geelong players are going to ton up throughout that period. The thing that swings it slightly in Marich's favour for me is the DPP. So when we're talking about the flex and talking about being able to rotate players through, Matt Roberts is solely just a defender. But you could play Marich in your flex. You can play Marich as your F7 at worst, or you can play him as your M9 at worst. So I feel like that covers more bases. And with the year that we're having, when we're talking about the lack of cash generation that we have, do we treasure your DPPs who do have that 100-point scoring ability a little bit more this year than previous years?
Yeah, it's a fair call. Like if you said to me that Marich is going to go and play same role as last week, same role as prior to last week every week, forget the 130s. They're outliers. You're not budgeting for them for Marich or Roberts, but I think Marich has proven in that role that he's got a really safe 80 to 100 and then the occasional 120, and he's got the DPP. So I think I would agree with you. The unknown is Roberts hasn't moved out of that position for 1 minute of the year.
That's right.
And the other guy has. So that's what you're trying to gamble or weigh up, right? That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's talk Sheldrick. There's still a bit of money to be made there. He's been quietly impressive the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I was doing some mucking around today. And the reason I was mucking around with my plan, and those of you who watched the episode last night, my original plan that I presented to everyone was I'm going to sell Marriage. When I heard from our mate today, Clayton, saying so confidently that Marriage is going to hold his role, then I'm now thinking, how do I take a $30,000 gamble? And so what I'm thinking of doing now is going Marriage stays in and just cull 3 rookies this week. So Bice, Trainer, and someone else like maybe a Stone or something, or Kako or one of those. And then to do that, though, I have to go Sheldrick over one of the other guys at 280 because Sheldrick's 230. And I looked at his break even and his scores with Mills out. I think he should make the 70 or 80 in 2 weeks that I want. So I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay with it. I don't want him as a long-term prospect, but I think 2 weeks till he's bye, if he stays in the CBA mix and gets 285s, he makes the 70 or 80 I'm looking for. I can then get rid of him on the bye. And and it's a gamble on Marriage's role. And if Marriage's role holds, I don't have to trade him. And if Marriage's role doesn't hold, well, I then lose about 50 or 60 grand on that transaction. So they balance out.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, RookieCoach has finally decided to join us. How are you, mate?
Oh, yeah, going well, mate. Busy night. But how are you boys going?
Yeah, going well, mate. Are you at a K yet? Have you got to 1,000 subscribers? How many?
Not yet. I'm at 918 at the moment.
918. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this on YouTube or whether you're watching on X, can you please go across to YouTube, research RookieCoach, give him a like, give him a follow, please. We want to try and get our man to 1,000 subscribers prior to the end of the night finishing. We would appreciate it. And he does God's work with us here on the channel as well. Comes on when we're short, comes on to chew the fat whenever we want to talk footy. So that would be my way of showing him a little bit of love. So let's get around him.
Legends.
Let's go to you then, RookieCoach, for this next one.
No.
Because Sam Berry has similar colour hair to you. And what do you think? Does it smell a bit, or have you got have you got a bit of interest there, or?
I need to see it more. I need to see more of it at that level.
Yeah.
Like it's to me at the moment, it stands out as more of an anomaly game than it is like this is what we expect from him.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Like I would not go early into that at all. Like I know we're all desperate for picks at the moment to try and save some cash, but I'm not that desperate. No, thank you.
Nah, I'm not that desperate either. No. So, even the name who will never be named again on this channel coming back soon, going back into that midfield who handballs backwards and goes faster in reverse than what he does forwards. Nah, don't trust it at all. But James Jordan usually tags Dawson pretty well. But
he does.
Rankin's got a bit of X factor about him. Which one do you think he goes to?
I know that he normally tags Dawson because last year this was the Dawson's worst game, and I needed him to win for a critical league matchup. I think it might have been the second week of the finals or something they played, and he followed Dawson around everywhere, and Dawson was just nowhere to be seen. But he's not tagging as well this year, so maybe that means Dawson can go okay, but I don't know. Like if history says anything, Jordan will go to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. B, C, or C options in this one. For me, there's too much risk around Dawson, Rankin. And then for Sydney, it's at the SCG. Warner, Heaney could be a good shout.
Yeah, I'm not sure of VCM though.
No.
Yeah, they might do okay. Like your Heaney's and Warner's might do maybe like a 105, 110. Maybe a Warner does a 95, but that's not going to be anything you'd like to throw a captaincy or vice captain on.
Yeah. And Deadly, I know you're watching. Ben Keys will score 40 and absolute piss everyone off that has him in their side.
Deadly, if you are watching, I want to know who complimented your stash.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those that are watching, Deadly was at work today. He's DM'd our little chat and he goes, "You wouldn't believe it, lads. Someone walked into where I was working and complimented me on my mustache."
Try to get free.
I then proceeded to ask him if they were wearing an ankle bracelet and if they were allowed around schools, but that's a story for another day.
He
also
had a Labrador too, I think. You didn't tell us that bit.
Yeah, that's right. The C&I dog. That's right. Melbourne versus St Kilda is our next game at Traeger Park. For those that don't know where Traeger Park is, it is as far north as you're going to get in Australia. It is in Darwin. 3:20 in the afternoon. It's easier to play during daylight hours in Darwin than what it is at night. It gets extremely humid up there this time of year. Do the conditions impact this one in Alice Springs, rookie coach? For me, I don't think it does to the extent of what it might if it was a night game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the conditions that we've seen at night games at this place are horrendous. I don't think we'll see as much effect. There's always going to be some play just given the normal environment of the field and that sort of heat.
Mm-hmm.
Probably maybe a little bit of regression. So maybe instead of Gawn going 200 against Romo, he goes 191. But in regards to the others, though, like it might, I think it might just slow the game down a little bit. Not so much change like the scoring impact, but maybe it just slows the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably all I'm predicting for this. Like you might just see people have lower time on ground than usual, potentially.
Yeah, this is the thing that I don't like. Whereas you're taking two AFL teams up to Darwin, which is fine. I'm all about spreading the love around Australia and playing footy at various locations around Australia. But why have an interchange cap when you know that humidity is going to be fucked? It's going to be hot. People are going to be cramping. And we've got to try and manage the subs throughout the game in order to get people through, which could potentially lead to injury. So, don't like it. Unpopular opinion or not, weak as piss AFL be better. Hurls, Max Gawn. Does he just stay above 700k now?
Close. You know, he might dip to 680 or 90 if you're really lucky. I think that's where he's going to be, right? Historically, he has had worse second halves of the year than front halves, and I think that's what all the non-owners are hoping for, that at some stage he drops. But I think the problem is, and this is what the issue was when we were talking a few weeks ago about do you go and just grab him or not, where's anyone going to find even 650 from in the next 4 weeks? Yeah, you're not going. He's not going to drop to 550, is he? So
No,
best case scenario, he drops to 650. How are you going to get him? So I think you probably fade Gawn, and then it's a bloody rough watch all year, fade and Gawn.
Yeah, you're just not watching the footy when Gawn's playing, are you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What do Marshall owners do? He stunk it up last week, rookie.
Hide behind a couch and watch the game. Maybe don't log into SuperCoach. The thing with Romo though is
your sound's just gone funny, mate. Just check that. With Marshall, he did have a bit of a outlier, I think, last week with his 55. I think he scored. I think he does bounce back to a degree. We'll just wait for Rookie to get his sound back. But yeah, I don't know. What's he done previously, Hurls, against Gawn?
I'm not sure. Let me have a quick look.
That sound's going again. Could be me.
I'm not sure. Oh, is that better?
Is it me still? Or was it horse?
It might have been horse.
Might be. Yeah, mine's going a bit funny. Can you guys hear fine?
Yeah, it's yours, horse, for sure.
Yeah.
What a
as you talk, it comes through like a bit of a muffle.
I'll be back.
So he has 73 last year, 149 the year before, 81 against Melbourne. I can't tell whether Gordon was in that team or not, though, rookie. So I'm not sure whether whether that's against Gawn or whether it's against just Melbourne. But Marshall's a bit of an issue. I don't. I know he got that massive score against West Coast, but he was always only ever going to be in the pack. So I know people have made some cash potentially, but I didn't think he was going to be viable to play against the big dogs all year.
No, but this is the thing: is those that got kind of bought into Marshall at that cheap price for those two easier matchups, you guys knew this was coming.
Exactly.
Like it's not like a storm that suddenly appeared. The only benefit that Marshall owners will have is that he can generate points from around the ground. He doesn't just rely on hit out work like a Wits does, for example. So there maybe will be some saving grace in that. Hopefully he's better than last week, but yeah, I don't know. It's a scary watch if you own him this week.
Yeah, and I think what they probably thought, like people that jumped on before the Carlton game, they've made 30K, 40K, and 5, so 75,000 in 3 weeks. I think they might have been hoping to bridge the gap to Gawn, maybe, and that's why they went there. But that 55 is like he's got 60s in his repertoire too often for me, and that's why I didn't want to go there. But not that I can talk, because some of my picks have been absolute junk this year. So we all make errors. But what about Boxall? Do you reckon we get a bit of cover from him over the buys, rookie?
I hope so. He's the only one that I'd have on the bench that might get a game.
Yeah, true. and we could use his cash. That's the big one I want. Like he's at 145, I think, at the moment. If he could get to that 180 or 200, it just makes it that little bit easier to upgrade in round 14, 15, 16. So I think that's where I really hope he does get a game. I think he did really well in that last quarter. But I don't want to second guess Ross. How are you going to predict that?
Yeah, exactly.
What about Isaac? Oh, is he back? No, good.
That's still playing up.
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
You sit there and look good, mate, and we'll just carry on through this game and see how you go.
Yeah. I'll be back. That's
awesome. Isaac Keeler, rookie, played in defence for the first time last week. We heard in the preseason that he was going to be training with the defenders, and we got a bit excited. Then he only ever played as that backup ruck and was rubbish. Last week, he got a 60-odd playing in defence. Do we think he stays there, or was that just because of the matchup against Gold Coast?
I don't think we know enough to have any confidence in whatever he's going to do at this point. Like there's just too many shifting things. Like they're just throwing him in spots and going, how does that work? How does that work? He did well. Like he played much better in the defensive role. I think we don't really want to watch because he's got a break even of 1, but I wouldn't jump into him. Like it's just too inconsistent role wise to warrant a trade in at 130 when you have a Gray or even a Daywicks now who's been named at 99. Not great scoring potential, but if you want to open up cash,
agree.
And
I spoke about this earlier. Like with Gray being forward defender, even if he dies, there's some utility in him. Whereas Keeler just being a forward only, if he dies in a week and he's 130K, it's just another one like Cooper Simpson, which most of us have sitting there, and you now got 2 dead forward spots. You don't really want that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's the thing is, if the people that hold on to Stone still had him, you've got a perfect switch from Stone to Gray, and you still keep that flexible DPP. It's like that's the perfect trade you could probably warrant this week. Is that sort of
100%.
trade there? So. Keeler, I wouldn't reach there. He might, look, if that defensive role sticks, we could probably still pick him up pretty cheap if we get really desperate, but yeah.
What about Sinclair and Wang? Like the Melbourne team, generally speaking, are pretty friendly to the back flankers. Do we expect that regardless of result, they're going to be really good scorers this week before their bye?
I think so. They played Melbourne twice from here to the end of season. I'm actually considering bringing in Naz this week just to get that Melbourne matchup because it should be pretty friendly. The conditions may limit that just a little bit, but I still think both Sinclair and Naz are going to have great games. We've obviously seen Sinclair find form again. We had that down patch, and now he's just smashing it again. And we saw Naz even do higher, probably consistent numbers than what we expected this season. Again, I pinned him for about a 105. sort of guy with a few 90s in there, but he's actually improved on that. And there's been some like transition points for Naz with some goals and all that sort of stuff that he now gets, which is awesome. So yeah, I think we can expect a good game from them both.
I think like, I'm a big fan of owning both of them for the run home. I own Sinclair already. I bought him last week and he jumped straight in with a 140 odd. I'm not going to go Wang this week just because he's got the bye next week and I really want to attack that bye. I've only got 2 primos on the bye next week, so I want to hold that and attack it. But I think round 14, he's a big candidate to come in. He'll still be about the 5.15 mark. I think that's significant value for Wanganeen Miller. VC and C in this game.
I think this one's tricky because Sinclair is a great shout, but how do you pass up Gawn? Like it's so tricky. If you didn't have a Gawn and you had a Sinclair, I'd 100% chuck a C on Sinclair for this confidently.
Yeah. I think that's a good call. Like I think, how risky do you want to go, or do you want to just go max Gawn? And we get the luxury. This is one of the few times that we have a gap between the second last and the last game, because the last game's in Perth at night, and so we can do VC with bye players coming on to jump on the field. So we can all take advantage if we want and go a max Gawn as VC, and then we've got a Geelong matchup with West Coast in the last game where we would expect some big scores as well. We've got some questions coming through. We'll answer them at the end about Pickett and things like that. So I've made note of that. We'll come back to that one at the end. Who do we think's winning this one, Rookie?
I actually think Saints are due.
Ooh,
I actually think
spicy.
Saints are due. Melbourne been
as
good
an
last
Essendon
couple
fan,
weeks.
As an Essendon fan, I'm hating that Melbourne are back because we've got their draft pick. But yeah, I think Melbourne probably just, and who knows what Alice Springs does and whether that makes it easier or harder for the Saints. I don't know. Can't trust St Kilda. Into the last game, and this is a Sunday night game, so people are probably thinking, what the hell are we doing on a Sunday night? It's actually a public holiday over here in WA on Monday, so that's why they're playing the night game for Eastern Standard Time. It works out a 5:20 game in the West, leading into a day off on the Monday. So how do the West Coast structure up now with W Train missing the best part of the year? So what do you reckon that now looks like?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so hard to replace someone of that caliber that was for West Coast, because I don't think they have anyone that even comes close to doing that. I think it was it Williams, Jack Williams, or I'm not too familiar with the roster.
Yeah, Jack, is it Jack? I think you're right.
Yeah,
Jack.
I think it might be Jack Williams. Yeah, he's probably just like the permanent replacement, and they just try to figure it out. Yeah, and maybe the rotations are good for some of the rookies, like maybe a Gross finally can reset his cash gen if he gets opportunity. Maybe a Clay Hall comes in and is now, if you didn't have him, or I don't think he's moved in price too much, Clay Hall, from memory.
He was 180 something, I think. I sold him a couple of weeks ago trying to get some cash out of him. But if he comes back, good for those who held. I think the interesting thing as well, I think Archer Reed was named emergency last week, so maybe he's even back. I think they've got the tools to cover it. And I think it links into the next question. Like, Marriage was moved a little bit because of W Train's injury last week, and also potentially maybe a little bit of lack of efficiency. Like, he had some clangers in that first quarter that weren't ideal. We heard, and those of you who haven't had a listen yet, I know Horse had the interview today with Clayton, who's coming fifth, and he's a big West Coast man, and he's really, really confident that Marriage gets his role back next week. What are your thoughts on Marriage? Is it a hold, a sell? What are you thinking?
I think there's a case for both. It really depends how you view him. So if you had Marrick in your team and you're like, oh, he's going to be like my F6 loop, or worst case, my F6 in case I really struggle to get my primos up there, I think you still hold. Like, yes, the break even's scary, but I think the deeper we get into the season, the less break evens become a factor to even worry about, because you just need to hold or keep because you have other things to worry about. Now, if you didn't see him as a keeper or your F6 loop or what have you, and he was always your cash play, then it's perfect time to get rid of him because he's about to bleed cash. You hope there's a role change and you made the right call to jump out of him. But I don't think there's a role change. I think it was an anomaly game where they just kind of had all these things happen all at once and they tried to make something work. They shared kick-ins. He butchered the ball very early on and just killed his, scaling ability throughout the game. Just a lot of bad things happened in regards to SuperCoach scoring potential. So I think you can make a case for either side. It's really team dependent on if you need his cash to do other things around the field as well. Like, sure.
I really love that because often we look at things too blinkered and we just think about, all right, well, what am I doing with this one player? I think it depends what your plan is. How many upgrades have you got left? Do you need his cash to make the upgrades? All of that comes into the equation. And I think the thing is, if you do sell and you take his money, he's done his job. You take his money, you move on, and you don't even look back. But if you hold, you probably then just say, all right, he becomes my flex or he becomes my F7 if I can afford an F7 later or something like that. And again, then you don't worry about the cash because you're not cashing him in. So I think it's a fair call. Horse, you're back.
Horse is back.
Oh, I think you're still in the toilet, it sounds like.
Oh, is it? Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been unbelievable. Sorry. I think my headphones have just shit themselves.
We've just made the feedback. It's a sub rule. You're out. I'm in. Let's go.
The feedback that you're getting in your ears is probably nowhere near as bad as what the home viewers are getting. So that's all good.
I'll sit out. You boys finish this one off.
Awesome. We'll play through to the end here, rookie. What about
Ross?
What about Baz? I didn't love you're a Geelong man, and I didn't love the interview at the end of the game last week where he said he needed 3 injections on the day to get through the game. And now they're coming off a 6-day break against a team that can't possibly win with a travel. Does he play?
That's a bit weird. I'm just reading the comments. Yeah, look, the comments after that game about, the injections just to get him through that, revenge game doesn't instill any confidence. Geelong are very well known for resting players too. Given that he's already had some hiccups very early in the season as well, you'd think they would rest him. But they've also had a massive break this week as well. So there's all things considered that he's been on light duties and they still want to play him. And maybe it's just managed minutes, potentially. Just to maybe they treat the game as a training thing for him, just so he doesn't lose any match fitness because they have a strong run home. They probably want to keep him at that pace. So there's that. Look, there's a part of me that wants him to be rested. It hurts my team still, but it also means that Maxi Holmes, who I brought in recently, goes nuts.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, being best 18 this week, we can't do much about it. The only thing you really probably need to consider is maybe don't rely on him with the C, because if you're waiting for him to be captain and he's a laid out, and you've got no alternatives and your VC shit the bed, that's where you could make a real mess of it. So I think maybe just don't worry about it. Everyone's got him. So I think someone said today 99 of the top 100 teams have Baz in SuperCoach. And if you extend that out to the top 10,000 teams, it's probably 9,999. So I don't think you worry about it. And you just hope that you don't have to, rely on his score and the rest of your team can maybe carry you for the week. But yeah, it's probably one to not make the captaincy, don't give him the armband or anything like that. Now you were talking just then about Maxi Holmes, rookie, and I've got the dilemma this week because I am short on cash. I'm trying to budget my 5-week plan. I would love to bring in Holmes, but I'm probably resigned to the fact that I need to buy Stewart instead. Yeah. Talk to me. What do you reckon? I mean, people that are in my situation, which I think there'll be a lot, where you're tossing up between the better player at 100K more or taking the haircut and hoping that the 100K less bloke can get within 5 or 10 for the season. What are you thinking with these two that you know pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, Stewart's the guy that will always perform to a degree if he's not affected. We know that he can, even when he's not really trying, get us a solid 85 at least. You know, the anomaly games that we've seen this season have all been affected in some way or form. You know, he spent almost 10, 15 minutes on a pine with a bit of an injury concern and all the other stuff. He's the guy that can probably safely get you a 95 to a 105 any week. And at that price, where that 100K from Stewart to Holmes makes a massive difference this week in regards to what you do with your team, I think he goes Stewart. I think he goes Stewart. And the better thing there is Holmes is the main tag target, which is the only downside to the pick, is he's going to be the first one that cops the tag. And he's little bit of a roller coaster, ever so slightly. Does need a goal or two to get a spike game and get those high ceiling games, but he looks to be in slightly better form than he was last season. So a little bit of that natural progression is paid in his favor. But for the 100K difference, I really like the Stewart pick. I would be getting him this week if I could. I'm just stacked in round 16. And unless I plan on trading out a primo in round 16, which I'm not going to do, I shouldn't do. I might still do it, but you never know.
Who knows what we'll do by then? That's 5 weeks
who
away.
knows? Exactly. That's over a month away. I'm not even considering that. I think Stewart's fine. There's all chances that he crashes and burns and gets undone with that PCL that he recovers from. He's a rough nut. He doesn't care for his injuries. He'll attack the ball at his same pace that he does every time. Watching him in person last week with Bulldogs, I put him at about 85, 90% fitness, like match fitness. So he looked a little bit slower than what we usually see, and that should hopefully only get better. So I really don't mind the Stewart pick if it allows you to open up options for your team. If it doesn't open up options, go Holmes.
Yeah. I think if you can afford it, I agree with you. If you can afford it, go Holmes. But it's just whether you can afford it or not. What about this next bloke? I never, ever, ever thought that he would be a super coach option. If you had said to me at the start of the year, at round 11, you're going to sit on a podcast and talk about Shannon Neal to make a quick 80K, I would have just laughed at you. What could it happen? Is that Horse? Are you back?
Oh, can you hear me all right?
Yes, that's working. Okay. You came back to help with the buttons.
I've had to glue.
I didn't know what to do.
I've had to sticky tape the cords. It looks like the kids have been, while they've been in here playing with the computer, they've kicked it, and the cords are now exposed from my headphones into the mic. So for all you pricks that said that I was red vested and wanted to get stuck into me, fuck you. I'm back. This is Horse's show, mate.
He will now be known as Jai Simpkin for the rest of the year. He's gone off looking like he was dead, and he's taken some kind of miraculous.
I was off. I was on the stretcher, neck brace and all for the hamstring, but I'm back.
Very good. We're just talking about Shannon bloody Neal. Tell us what we could do here, rookie.
Mate.
Like, is he really an option for 80K?
No.
You can't.
We probably
can you?
We probably just witnessed his best Supercoach game for the next 2 seasons. Like, don't get me wrong, he is progressing as a player. He's getting much better. He's improving. He's getting good. But like, that was the anomaly game that we've seen. He probably can still make you cash. Don't get me wrong, given the price and the break evens. There's cash to be made there. But he's given us 40s pretty consistently as well.
He's had
some spikes.
Let me give you the little ray of hope for people who are thinking about playing him, and I still am. He's got West Coast this week. He's the key forward without danger, and he's been going okay without danger. And then he gets back up ruck against BJ. Then he has a harder kind of time of it against Gold Coast the week after. But then he has Essendon with probably Sardis playing fullback. So bloody hell, if he can't score enough to make 80K in those 3 weeks, he's never going to do it.
Well, that's the risk, isn't it? Is you got 2 good matchups in that one matchup, which might do the cash gen under. Because again, this.
Sorry to interrupt, boys. Sardis will be sub hot off the press.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
good for day weeks.
And James in the chat has nailed it as well. I reckon he may have the same contact that I have, but
he won't be sub against Geelong. He'll be full back on Neal in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah,
he'll be mounting Neal, giving him
for those that still have Sardis or are looking at their draft stars or what have you. He will be sub.
There you go.
Love that. Look,
all right.
Back to what about me, Shannon Neal. I think he could be a play. It's risky, but it could be a play if you are desperate for cash gen. The matchups work at 2 out of 3. You're just really hoping he just does enough in that harder matchup against Gold Coast to keep his cash gen alive. Because that's the game you're going to be worried about. Because if he shits the bed, cash gen's gone.
Yeah, but you are just banking on a 90 this week. If he gets a 90 or 100 this week, he's already made enough that it's not the end of the world if he gets 50 the week after. But it is I agree, it's a huge gamble. It's not something we should be talking about. But
and it's best 18 as well. So if there's a time to do it, it's now.
Yeah, because we're so desperate for cash, and I know for me, I'm looking for one of my trade-ins this week to be a real short-term play, and whether that's Sheldrick, McAuliffe, Neil, bloody Caleb Smith, I don't know who I'm going to go, but I want one of them to make me a quick 80. And that's not really how you should be playing SuperCoach, but I think that's the nature of this season. So that's where we're at. What about the captaincy here? Horse, we were talking before about Bailey Smith being a big risk because of not maybe a laid out.
Yeah.
Could you go VC in that last game and then risk someone here? I guess if you've got multiple options, you could, but if you only had Smith, I probably would avoid it.
Max Holmes?
Yeah.
I don't think West Coast will tag, and he could get real off the chain here. Or something spicy for you. Without McGovern again, does Jeremy Cameron go ballistic this week again?
Could.
I've seen a few Jezza picks floating around. I don't mind it. Spicy. It's a F6 loop option in my opinion. If you want to go there.
Yeah. And the trouble with Cameron as that player, yes, he could make the 80K, I agree. But you're having to invest a bit to make the 80K. Like if you pick a Sheldrick to make 80, you're only taking Trainer off the field, for example, Trainer down to him, and you still make your 80. Whereas what's Cameron worth? He'd be 300 and something, wouldn't he? 380 or something.
420, I think.
420. So how can you possibly go there? I wouldn't be able to. Anyway.
That's
our games, Horse. That's our games. So we've covered them all. We've got our teams on the bye, but we've also had the mid-season draft tonight. So I think it's worth just having a quick chat. I'll be really honest here. I don't know a lot of these blokes, but I know that I'm going to be buying 3 of them in the next 5 weeks anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Regardless of whether they're playing or not, you're coming in. Yeah.
Exactly. So do any of us know anything about these guys that we could shed some light on for the people at home who are also going to be buying 3 of them?
I know that your boys, Dons, absolutely shit the bed with their drafts. Where's the defenders?
We don't need defense when you score 300, mate.
Great draft for us, rookie. We didn't pick for 2025. It's already a write-off. We picked for the next 4 years.
Yeah. So Tom McCarthy will play straight away, and there's a fair chance that he will play this weekend. When we're talking about McCarthy and people worried about whether McCarthy's going to take some of Marich's disposals down back, can anyone think of a person mid-season draft or not that's come in their first game without having played any AFL football and just going straight into being a 25 to 25 touch seagull merchant? No. It's not going to happen. So while he might play back...
Not off the top of my head.
No. And you know what? He's going to be 99K. Pay you 99K for him. Expect 60. That's fine. With all of these guys here, you're not going to have anyone that's going to ton up week after week.
No. You know who I reckon probably got the closest to averaging, and I'd have to look him up, 60 to 70 probably? Will Snelling, the year we picked him.
That's right.
He came in and did okay. But yeah, they're rare, right? It's not going to be, you're not buying any of these guys to do anything other than be the break glass in case of emergency, and most importantly, to unlock max cash. So if Tom McCarthy is 99K, we go down to him from a stone and we make 100 as an example, rather than going to your 119, 900 blokes. And if they're getting games, they probably stay in the team too. So they've got some job security. They just don't have high scoring potential. But McCarthy's probably the odd man out. Back flanker might get a few touches. He could get some seagull kicks and could be the good one. I don't know whether many others.
North Melbourne love Zach Banch. So they've been crying out for another small forward, and he fits that bill. Again, don't expect huge scores out of him, but we expect to see him play. Archer May, which is Dermot Brereton's stepson, picked up by Essendon right in front of Collingwood. They thought they had him in the bag, but Essendon snagged him. Oscar Adams is someone that the Suns have been chasing for a while. Selwood from Dogs at 5, very good halfback flanker, but again, with their depth that they have, I wouldn't expect him to play. Jacob Newton's an interesting one. He might play just given the lack of depth that West Coast have. And if you're choosing between Jacob Newton and Campbell Chesser, you're probably picking Newton. But the other one is Lockie Blackiston. So he's a 6'8" ruckman, 26 years of age that Essendon have picked up. This is purely an insurance policy here. Yeah. Is Goldstein going to play every week? No. Is Blackiston going to play? I think yes. Is it going to be consistent games? No. But if you look at his profile and go and have a look at the way he goes about it, there's a lot of Mark Blick-Sabs about him. Do I think he's as good as Mark Blick-Sabs? Absolutely not. But when we're talking about the type of player that he is and the type of game that he's going to add to Essendon's midfield, he's more of an athletic ruckman that can get around the ground. But I think from memory, when they're reeling off his stats, he averaged 18 touches and 33 hitouts a game. So that's, Mark Blick-Sabs-esque, just at a lower level.
Unfortunately, though, he's probably the one guy who's useless to most of us because we've got a 99K rookie in our R3 already. So if he's ruck only, unless you've got, and I know that there's some people that do have Flynn at R3 or Archer Reed at R3 or something like that, then that could be viable. I'm a bit with you. I think you might play 3 games for the year. It's not going to be every week. It'll be when Goldie needs a rest. Goldie will be number 1 ruck for the year until he needs a bit of a spell. And then even Vigo, I hope, gets a few games. And knowing how Essendon go about this, and you've got to remember this guy's from the Waffle. Matt Rosa took Peel from a nobody club to a premiership in 2 years, and he has picked the eyes out of the Waffle in these kind of drafts. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's even more of a medium to long-term prospect as well. So I think he'll play an odd game, but it won't be every week.
Rookie, I see we got your man Pro in the chat. You reckon we should get him on here and give him a crack, soon?
Oh, yeah. He'll give you a good crack, for sure.
Yeah. He is currently sitting 43rd overall as well.
Maybe his microphone will be a bit better than yours.
Well, there's actually no guarantees. Look, I love Brad, but he might also bring a typewriter to the situation.
He'll fit right in.
I was going to say he'll be good around here. Me with my Macca's Wi-Fi, horse with his microphone.
With my I'm technologically gifted.
All right, that's it for the only other thing we got left is trades. Horse, do we want a noise or a sound for that, or are we just going to my slide? You caned me last week for going to the slide early.
Hang on, is it a trades one?
Yeah.
It's time for some news from around the league.
Let's go. Your trades, Hurls. Go ahead.
Oh, I am definitely trading out Riley Bice. I'm definitely trading out Luke Traynor. And I'm definitely trading out, who's my third one? Isaac Kako at this stage is my third trade out.
Okay.
And I'm going to be bringing in, I don't know why I'm going to do this to myself, but Tom Stewart I'm going to bring in. I'm going to bring in Gray. And the third one is up in the air between Sheldrick and McAuliffe. At this stage, it's Sheldrick, because what that extra 50K lets me do is next week I can get Bont without having to cull any of the 400K blokes if I save the 50K. So I think I'm going to go Sheldrick because of that.
Okay. What do you reckon, Rookie? How do you think you're looking this week?
I don't know, really. I'm in two minds. I think for me, again, there's been obviously a lot of discussion on trading into plays that have buys and pros and cons to go through all of that. Mm-hmm. I'm using this as an opportunity to go left while everyone's going right. So I've held on to Sheasel and McRae, who are both not playing this week. Sheasel's gone for me. Most likely becoming Naz because I want his game this week and he helps the buyers moving forward. Dacos is at a really juicy price too. So I also want to grab him. And then I'm probably going to pick up Gray. So a little bit of a sideways week for me. But I've barely done any sidewaysing this season. So it's probably the week I can afford to do it that then corrects some buy structure for me moving forward. But Gray could also be Daywicks just to open up a little bit more cash at the same time.
It's exactly what I've done since Zartis, we know, will be sub now, and my microphone difficulties that we had earlier. So for me, my moves at the moment are Luke Traynor out, Matt Roberts out, Sardell Hawley out, Max Holmes in, Tom Stewart in, and Archer Day Wicks. Still 70K in the bank.
Damn. I like it.
Getting a bit spicy. That Geelong run just does magical things for me.
Love it.
Yeah. We're getting into some questions, boys.
Let's do it.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
All right, so first up, lads. Kako, Marriage out for Holmes and Cameron. Thoughts?
I don't love it.
No, I don't like it either.
I just think marriage for Cameron's a bit too maybe for me.
Yep. Rookie, what are you thinking? I'm trying to work this out on the fly.
It's not used to the typewriter that you got there. Right.
We're trying to get the three heads on the screen.
Someone's been in here and changed it all because it says trio, but they've turned it into a one and a share screen, so not real happy about it. Continue on though.
Yeah, no, not a fan. I think you're forcing trades for the sake of trades.
Agree.
Yep, I think so. Skull, is that standard squeeze lid on Hurls tonight?
No. It's a Hurley cap.
Nathan Simpson, go lads, how you going? Pick 2 out of Holmes, Tom Green, and Merritt. Cheers.
Holmes and Green. Merritt's run is really hard, and Holmes is really easy, and Tom Green's is good for inside bids as well.
Yep. Rookie.
Yep, totally agree.
Beautiful. Dacos to not take a contested mark this week.
Well,
probably.
It's not really his go, is it?
It's not his game. No. As we saw earlier, is there even any grass left at People First Stadium? That number 18 Buzz Lightyear looking bloke keeps eating it.
Yeah.
What else we got? Benny G. Holmes and Wang for Marriage and Reed, a good trade. Or better options available.
I actually like that.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay because you're going into 2 legitimate top 7, 8, 9 defenders for a cash cow and a rookie cash cow. So, yep. We're back.
Oh,
you're lucky that wasn't deadly down the bottom. The comments would have been going nuts about seeing over the bloody ribbon and all that kind of stuff.
I wasn't ready to do this much work tonight.
I wasn't. Wits for a pod, VC Horse. Nah, I don't think VC. Not this week. No. Whitfield or Sheasel first to go if roll sticks.
She's for sure.
Shees plays Richmond next week. Does that not worry you, Rookie?
No, it doesn't. I'm sick of Parko and his flying magnets. Like it's like and shit. I get it. The fixture opens up a little bit for them, and he's probably going to have some spike games. But what after that? I'm thinking after the easy games. Then what?
Okay.
My question to that is: have you got the trades and the cash to get rid of either? Because I don't.
Yeah.
Like if you do, you could be in a great position. But if you've got to get rid of them and it means you don't get 22 or 3 primos, then just hold them both.
Well, that's the other argument too, isn't it? Is maybe I just drop one. Maybe I have more faith in McRae than Shees. Hide Shees in the flex, or hide McRae in the flex and just move one of them to a day cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hawksy, how are you, mate? Stewart or Caldwell better to bring in? Can do either easily via DPP. I like Stewart. Only because he looks like rookie coach. There you go. That's my reasoning.
They're both got huge injury risk.
Yeah.
But I think
Are
Caldwell.
you talking about me and Stewart? Or are you talking about Codwell and Stewart? Because I do get into it a fair bit.
A lot.
Well, I think Caldwell has no other risk other than injury. I think I read a stat today. Anytime he gets 11 plus contested possessions, he turns up, and he's going to get that every week if he plays. So it's only injury risk with Caldwell. So I think that's if you're a bit more risk averse, I think Caldwell's a little safer, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jonas, hey Hose, where is Supercoach Cowboy? I'm not fucking Hose, mate. I'm Horse. Get that legend to one case. Jonas is probably blind, but that's okay. We'll let this one slide. But have you got the cowboy hat?
Are you picking on someone who can't type their Horse? Is that really
I think I am.
Going?
Oh, have a look at it. If you don't
There's
get to
that.
1K subs tonight, then Brokeback Mountain's not going to enjoy that.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Hawksy, how do we know Tom McCarthy won't take Marich's halfback spot? He has not played a game of AFL yet. There is no chance he's taking it.
I wouldn't have a clue about what he's going to do, but I highly doubt he will.
Death, taxes, and Marich running hard for a point kick out, you can guarantee on. Dejin, mate, rookie coach, a.k.a. Tom Stewart. Are you going to ton up this week?
If he plays and doesn't get rested, because there's all chances knowing Chris Scott, he'll get a 110 this week.
What's your subs total looking at too, mate? We've got to get that to 1K tonight.
That's a good question. Let's have a look. 924.
Beautiful. We've had a few join while you've been on here. Let's try and get this man to 1K. Deadly, Bolter Bet, Keys, 78. Please, I'll take 58. No wonder I keep fucking losing bets with that bloke. If they're going to manage players' minutes, does that mean Boxer will get even less time on ground? We're talking about the Darwin game, Hurls.
Yeah.
No, he probably stays the same, and the others will come back. He only gets 50 anyway, so he
might get 23% time on ground.
Yeah,
and even less chance to do fuck all.
Let's just hope he's not sub. That's all, because bloody hell.
Yeah, the Colonel. Someone say KFC. Thoughts on Cozzy Pickett, Coach? Talk to me.
I don't mind it. He's obviously been the numbers are there. You can't deny that he's in ripper form for the moment. He's used it a lot in transition. Kicked the bag last week as well. He's in good form. He's just a pod. Does he maintain form through the end of the season? Or is it that kind of link up that when Melbourne are good, Pickett's good? Do we trust Melbourne to be good for the rest of the season?
No.
His big scores have been where he's kicked 5 and 4, I think. So he can still score okay with a 1 or a 2 goal game, but it's not the big scores. So it just depends if you want to take that kind of roller coaster. If Melbourne start losing a few games, does he get 70s again? It's up to you.
Jonas, good to see you got auto spell check going, mate. Goodwin has been talking about Sinclair. Wouldn't be surprised if you sent Sparrow or Rivers to him. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to help.
Skull had to leave, but he's back. He heard Jonas talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills.
He's talking about BJ Williams, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Sheldrick Jackson Gray in from Theo. How are you, Theo? Reed, Kako, Cleary. Thoughts, lads? Hope you're good. Yeah, I don't mind it. I reckon Jackson, regardless of whether he's ruck or not, the way he's scoring, he could be top 6 forward anyway. It's just a matter of, do you want to spend that money?
Yeah. I mean, he's 580 now with a low break even. If you're going to get him and you want him, it has to be this week. The Darcy part is, it only removes his ceiling. I still think he has a 95 average in him, even with Darcy in the team.
Yep.
And he gives you the ruck cover, perhaps. I guess it depends, Theo. What have you got as R3? I wish right now we had not taken the St Kilda bloke and we just put a bloody forward ruck swing, right?
Good old Livingston.
Yeah, because then we could have taken advantage of Jackson, and that could have been your cover if you had an injury for a week or something.
Yeah. Benny G. Hey, mate. Had the C on horse this week. Story of my season. It's all right. I'm back, mate. I'm back.
He's back.
I'm on three-quarter time. I'm on 110. I'm going large. CWT. Hey, mate. The only way you'd pick Stewart is if you're actively trying to go bald or grey. Well, he's locked for me then.
That's me too. I'm going for the bald option.
Oh, have a look at this for street cred, rookie. Paul Pierce wheelchair game or Michael Jordan flu game from horse.
I love it.
I wish I knew what that meant, but anyway.
Just loaded up the computer, getting ready to jump on. Coach then realised that it was a horrid idea, so I got told to sit back down. Good boy. Know your place. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night on the Panic Room, we have Deadly and myself, maybe one other. We'll see how we go. We've got a little something for Deadly on that episode. You are not going to want to miss that. He has a package at his house. He has received it. What it is, we're not sure. Is it a helmet so he looks like Caleb Daniel? It could be. Stay tuned to find out. Supercoach Pro. Real good point, this. Remember when we thought Humphrey had a good fixture and look what happened?
Yeah, but you're buying them for different reasons, though. You're only buying Shannon Neal for 2 weeks. It's a gamble, 100%. But you're not like Humphrey. You were hoping did what Marriage has done, right? So that was the difference.
Yeah. What do you think about Jez Cameron being an F7 loop or a flex? Take his scores when he does pop off.
I don't hate it, just given Geelong's run, but there's probably other options that might work better for you, or at least cash-wise. Again, he's in the 400s, so it's not like you're grabbing a cheapo like a Dylan Moore, for example, who's very cheap, who you could potentially throw in that position. Don't get Dylan Moore. That's a joke. Don't do it. Unless you want to play risky.
I was about to say, trade in Jaden Laverty as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I bought him in my keeper league to cover Zach Reed this week.
Oh shit! That's when you know you're struggling.
I know.
Yeah.
I just don't like the Cameron pick for. He needs to kick 8 goals to get 100. I just don't like it. But if you want to go there, Pro, I know that you're up there and I'm not, so you might be better placed to make these calls than I am. I think it's just too risky.
James D'Alberto. Hey, mate. Bit rough this week. New week. Going a Pod Richards over Bont, save 40K. Bont only having 60% CBAs and playing a lot forward. Could be a masterstroke.
Love it.
Yeah, Richards is flying.
Yep.
Up the gingers.
Represent! Wanganeen Monera horse. Please tell Rookie Coach about my name. So, all right. We were doing a podcast last night, and IJ famously this is Ian Johnson, famously made his debut appearance. And I asked him about Wanganeen Monera, and he goes, who? Wanganeen Monera. So, and now he's changed his name on YouTube to Wanganeen Monera. He is the king of English study, as you can see.
Oh, him and Brad are going to get along very well.
Jasper, how many primos have you guys got this week? For me, I've got Zorko, Sinclair, Clark, Holmes. Do we call Stewart a primo? Yes or no? Yeah.
I'd say so.
So it's 5. Brayshaw, Neil, Dawson, Dacos, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sarong, 10. I got Ned Long. He can score like a primo, 11. Max Gawn, 12. Bailey Smith, 13. Chad Warner, 14. Isaac Rankin, 15. Ryan Marich, 16. So 16 for me.
I've got 15 now that I'm holding Marich.
Yeah, I'll have 15 as well.
Yeah. And Pro, sorry, mate. Ranked 38th, not 43rd. How dare I get that wrong?
The disrespect. Oof.
I know. I'll do myself 10 push-ups when we finish here, mate. I'll be less weak as piss next time. Hurls, question for you. You trading out Horse?
No, he's coming back in. He's staying in the. He's just got to get his microphone fixed so that he doesn't sound like he's in the shitter. But he's staying the Horse.
Yeah, good. I feel loved. I was about to give myself the cone of the week, but let's not do that. Gorn, Reed, El Hawley, M Hall out for Nando's, Stewart, Gray. Stewart is my D6 now, but I still have Roberts D5. I already have Holmes and Sheasel in mids 2. Too much to get Stewart? I don't think so. I think it's an educated play.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry so much about who's D6 and who's M8 and who's F6 for the next 5 weeks, because it's just best 18. And then as long as they're not your D6 and your M8s and that in round 17, when it goes back to round 22, that's when it's a problem.
Boys, I'm sorry. We have news. Big, big news.
It's time for some news from around the league.
Now, I'm going to fix up this because we don't need this. I don't know who's been in here fucking around.
Deadly. It's been deadly.
But when we're talking about blokes in the community that are well respected and what have you, there's none more respected than our man, would you say, Squiddy?
Squiddy's back.
Oh, Squiddy!
Well, g'day. How are we?
I didn't get subbed out. This is great.
Sounds like you're talking from really far away, Squid. But
Shit.
Mate, it's so fucking good to see you, mate.
We can still hear you better than Horse, mate. Even though you sound like you're coming from another country, you're still better than Horse's microphone.
Fix that up. Jeez, we're getting a lot of love for Squiddy in the chat already. This is fucking awesome.
Well, that sounds a bit better.
Sounds heaps better. How are you, brother?
Lovely. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just got me back from the hospital, so ready to come on in. Bright and early, ready for the clock on for work.
You know what?
I'm on
You
time,
just said
aren't I?
work. You just said work, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've stopped the questions early because there is an episode each week where there's millions of people from around the world, regardless of what SuperCoach show they watch, depending on no matter what YouTube channel they watch, even if they're watching the fucking State of Origin, who cares about that meathead bullshit that's going on in that other code? You specifically watch the Insight Fantasy Sports Network for this 2 minutes of absolute fucking fame. You know what time it is, rookie. You've done such a good job of it in the past, but no one does it like the original OG man himself. It's Cone of the Week time.
Yes, it's fucking good to be back. I mean, look, rookie, you do a great job of it, mate, and I very much applaud and appreciate you for what you do. But sometimes I've just got to do what I've got to do, and this is it. All right, so that's what I'm about to do. Look, couple of quick cones here, right, Horse. First of all, how the fuck do you play 4 quarters of football, Nick fucking Watson, have 4 touches? That's 4 more touches than me, and I was sitting on the couch having a beer. Like, he's just running around doing bloody little spinny spins all the whole game. But come on, mate. That's weak as piss. Be better. Look, Horse, I'm doing this for you. Hurls, I'm doing this for you. Community, I'm doing this for you. The strength and conditioning coach for Essendon has got to be close to getting fucking sacked, doesn't he? How many goddamn 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, season ending? I can't believe Goldstein's still bloody standing. The poor bloody goddamn doctor for the Essendon Football Club is going to have go out and have mental health leave soon because of how much overworked he's been right now. This is absolutely ridiculous. Weak as piss. Be better to him. Look, I just don't get it. Ross Lyon, my God, like you can't come out and call the Suns the Nepo baby of the AFL. I don't think he understands what that means because, look, the Hawthorn Hawks have a plus free kick differential of 60. Collingwood has the easiest fixturing of all time because they don't travel anywhere. Geelong are able to just hand out farms to players and are allowed to go above the salary cap. And the AFL just goes, I can't see shit. And they think that the Suns are the Nepo baby. Like, come on. I guess maybe it's just because no one gives a fuck about St Kilda, so everyone's a Nepo baby to St Kilda. So whatever, Ross, you can have it all. But look, when it comes to Cone, I can't look past one person this week, Horse. And it's fitting that he's on the Cone promo screen already because it's Kane Corns. You can't try and death stare a coach as he's walking out onto the ground about to coach a game. That is goddamn... And then he goes on the broadcast and starts talking shit. Like... And the worst thing is, it doesn't even surprise us because he's that much of a fucking flog. Now, in saying that, the AFL have a very, very pristine chance here. We can look away from all Laura Kane's bullshit. We can look away from Andrew Dillon's bullshit. We can look away from the tribunal. Glad that Alex Pearce got off, by the way. But if someone else does that same action and they don't get off, serious amount of shit is about to hit the fan. But the AFL has a chance to right all those wrongs. Do the same bullshit you did last year with Gather Round and make sure it's Kane Corns versus Luke Beveridge, because Luke Beveridge will fucking destroy that prick quicker than me and Horse will do an upsize zinger box with an extra zinger burger on the side.
Yum, 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 yum.
Be better.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Kane Corns, even though you're on the graphic, weak as piss, mate, you are the cone of the week. And as Hawksy just said, Bailey Smith joined at Cone. So there you go.
Bailey Smith going. Lovely. Oh, that's always good.
Yeah.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Mate, how is everything? Family good?
Family's going well. Yep. Very, very nice, as you can see. Got the crib here in the background, so that's always fun. But got the brand
here we
newie,
go.
so the spiffy one. So everything's trucking along nicely. We're getting all thumbs up, which is good at the moment. So just keep on keeping on.
Oh, mate, that's awesome to hear. We have missed you, but we understand that family comes first, mate. But it's fucking awesome just to see your face again here.
It's lucky as well that we have such good subs as well. Like, you know, we've got the beautiful face of Rookie up here. Hurls always does his thing. You're just as beautiful as always. So not to mention Pipsqueak Deadly. So, you know, we've just got such a good bunch of guys. So it's all right, you know.
Fucking oath. Oh, answer me this then, mate, and then we'll go to the other boys. Langford and Reed to Tom Stewart and Gray, Clark, or Day Wicks. Bank 300K and straight swap Bice to Bont next week.
Well, interesting that you had Langford in the team at the start, but that's all right. But yeah, Reed's obviously got to go.
It might be Harvey Langford, I reckon. It's not going to be Kyle Langford.
Okay, now that makes a lot more sense for where my mind went. So that's all right.
Yeah.
Love Stewie. And then when you go with Gray, Clark, or Day Wicks, well, you boys would be the better question on Day Wicks, so I'd definitely leave that one to Hurls there. But I like what Gray's been able to do for the Tiggies. He's been pretty well suited. He was kind of like a number and R one when you first started with it, but now he looks like he's quietly cemented that. So that's nice. Clark, you sold me on Clark, in fairness.
Yeah. King Cherry too. Have a look at the name. The big helmet
Love
man.
Him. Love that. Yeah. Must be a big cock.
I'll tell you what, Langford has been a sneaky good cash cow. I just looked him up because I didn't really know where he's at.
Yeah.
371K. He's made 190,000, Harvey Langford.
Yeah.
We all missed that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ready to go, though. 106 break even, so ready to go.
Rookie. Yep. Reed and Trainer to Holmes and Gray. Also thinking Marrick to McAuliffe to bank some cash and bont it up next week.
Love the first half. Drop
nice.
The second half.
Drop a sec. You're not a fan of bonds?
Wait, what was bring the question up again?
Oh, I've got to go back,
man. All I saw was Marrick to McAuliffe, and I instantly just zoned out.
Oh, okay. And then bonds next week.
Yeah. Oh, sure. It's bond. You're going to have to, right?
Yep.
You're going to have to make cash somehow.
Yep.
Yeah. If you've got, I think the question is, if you've got to burn someone like a Marriage Roberts or a Caleb Daniel, for example, at that 400-odd K mark to get Bont, if that's your only way to get him and you want to get him, then Marriage this week makes sense because he's going to lose cash regardless of if he gets the rollback or not.
Yeah. You're our man because you're all great blokes. Gentlemen, you are, mate. Thank you. Gray's an ex-VFL Essendon player too, apparently.
He is. Yeah.
No wonder he goes well.
Richmond got him from the
Bombers. I'll take someone else.
Yes.
Kizza, Squid, how's the nappy fund compared to the beer fund? Oh, he's lagging a bit, I think.
Not great. It's hemorrhaging very, very hard, and I hate it. So, bugger. Hang on.
That's all right. I think he might just be resetting his net. That's all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do us for tonight. You two blokes, Rookie, thank you for coming across. We know it was mid-show, mate, but we want to see you get to 1,000 subs. So for those that are tuning in right now, over 200 of you now, if you're not already, go across to RookieCoach's YouTube channel, click on his channel, give him a sub, give him a like, and let's get into 1,000 subs before the end of the weekend. I think we as a community, I think we could do that.
Absolutely.
Yep. Where can the people at home find you, Rookie?
Just RookieCoach AFL on X.
Sorry, I'm telling you.
What's wrong?
Go, Squiddy. Just start talking.
The nappy fund is killing me.
For those of you who are tuning into our channel for the first time, we are technological wizards here at Inside Fantasy.
Tie me in with these boys.
We've had RookieCoach come 20 minutes late. Horse's microphone didn't work for 20 minutes. Squid turns up to do his cone and then lags out like he's on the Macca's Wi-Fi. And we got old mate Hurls that is carrying us.
I'm catching up rapidly because I had some negative credits in the bank from when my microphone was shit and my Macca's Wi-Fi didn't work. So
that's all right.
All right.
Now, for those that are interested, RookieCoach at RookieCoach AFL on X. Get across, like his stuff, go and give him a follow. For Squid, you can always see Squiddy, Hurls, and I. We tag each other in pretty much everything we do. So get around it. Get around my man, Squiddy. Mate, it's so good to see your face back on here.
Pleasure. Sorry about that. The nappy fund's killing my beer, my internet, and my everything. So I apologise about that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Rookie. Sorry, mate.
I think you can get a gauge as to how appreciated you are in the community by just scrolling through the comments in the past 10 minutes, and almost every comment by every person's been about how good it is to see you back here.
Well, that's because I love them. So I very much appreciate you all.
Awesome. Before we leave tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we do try and break the stigma around mental health, and that's it is okay not to be okay, and it's not weak to speak. So if you are feeling down, if you're not feeling right, reach out to a loved one, reach out to a family member, reach out to a friend. There are helplines out there as well. If you want to reach out to someone anonymous as well, there is Beyond Blue, there's Lifeline, and all those different types of organizations that you can reach out to in order to get yourself the help that you need. I know Squiddy's inbox is always open. RookieCoach's inbox is open. Hurls' inbox is always open. Mine is always open. So please, if you're struggling at home and you need someone to talk to, if you're not comfortable contacting the agencies like Beyond Blue or Lifeline, you're not comfortable talking to your family, your friends, or whatever else, and you want to speak to someone that is us, send me an inbox, send us an inbox, because we would much rather take half an hour talking to you right now than talking to your family or loved ones at a funeral down the track. So remember, it's okay not to be okay, and it's not weak to speak. For tonight, we've been the fabulous foursome. We fucked up occasionally, but we got there in the end. We'll see you tomorrow night for our panic room. Fuck, I love footy. We'll catch us then.